Good morning once again to each one of you. Let me, at the very outset, inform you regarding our bureau meeting of this morning, where we discussed about the organization of our work in the coming days. Yesterday, we began the examination of draft decision 10B1, but decided to suspend it and come back to it today. We suspended examination on this item and requested the Secretariat to reflect on a creative procedure that will allow the file concerned to be examined by the committee as soon as next year. The Secretariat presented a proposal and the Bureau agreed that it should be presented to the committee for its consideration this morning. Allow me, therefore, to give the floor to Mr. Curtis to explain this to us. Mr. Curtis, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. As you are all aware, the committee decided under item 6 to initiate a global reflection on the listing mechanisms of the 2003 Convention, which would notably include preliminary meetings and the convening of an open-ended intergovernmental working group provisionally foreseen in 2021. However, many members raised concerns about the length of the reflection process, foreseen to be completed in 2022. Members also repeatedly expressed the need to introduce a dialogue between submitting states and the evaluation body. Taking note of these discussions, the Secretariat would like to propose on an experimental basis a preliminary dialogue procedure that could serve the current needs whilst also contributing and providing insights to the global reflection. At the same time, as mentioned by the Chairperson, yesterday the committee suspended the examination of the files Chamame submitted by Argentina and asked the Secretariat to reflect in a creative way to allow this file to be examined next year by the committee. In response to the committee's request and taking good note of the responses as well given by Bangladesh and Czechia to the questions posed on their respective files, the Secretariat highlights that any experimental procedure on a dialogue mechanism or preliminary dialogue mechanism should apply to all nominations referred by the committee at its current session. This is to take into account the primacy of the principles of consistency and fairness in the treatment of nominations amongst all states parties. Moreover, what the Secretariat is suggesting still poses some questions in relation to paragraph 36 and paragraph 54 of the operational directives relating to the examination of files and the overview of procedures. In that sense, should the committee decide to go down this path, it is our understanding that the committee would need to be bound by the truly experimental nature of this decision, acknowledge responsibility for this process until the matter is brought for the discussion at the first possible session of the General Assembly, namely its next session in 2020. At the same time, as announced yesterday, 2 states, namely Saudi Arabia and the Lao People's Democratic Republic, have already withdrawn their file. Given, however, that item 10 is still open for discussion, and based again on the primacy of the principles of consistency and fairness, I would like to propose that they be given the opportunity, should they so desire, to cancel their withdrawal. So the proposal of the Secretariat is as follows. Those states whose files were or will be referred at the current session could submit to the Secretariat clarifications prior to the first meeting of the evaluation body foreseen at the end of February next year, should they so wish to. These clarifications should respond to the concerns of the committee and evaluation body on those referred criteria, and must be submitted in the 2 working languages of the committee, in English and French. The word count should not exceed the total word limit set in the nomination form for the criteria concerned. The Secretariat shall register and acknowledge receipt of the clarifications received. It will not check if the information is complete. The Secretariat will then forward the clarifications to the evaluation body, which will assess these against its original recommendations on those criteria and review their initial recommendation on the basis of the clarifications received. The files concerned will then be re-examined by the committee at its 14th session next year, and therefore are not considered as newly submitted files. As I mentioned before, the committee would need to review this procedure for a discussion at the 8th session of the General Assembly in 2020. These files would be considered above the adopted overall ceiling for the 2019 cycle and will not count in the quota of the states concerned. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for reflecting on this very sensitive issue, and also for this spirit of openness and flexibility to try to resolve something which has been raised by various members of this committee. Dear colleagues, let me take this opportunity to underline that, as explained by the Secretariat, this procedure is not foreseen by the current operational directives, and as committee, we remain accountable to all states parties to the Convention at the General Assembly. Bureau members were asked to undertake consultations on this matter. Therefore, let us not discuss it now, but rather when we come to the overall decision 13-10. I think that we can now resume the examination of the decision and continue where we reached yesterday. That is, consider item 10B15 and move to examine the nomination Chida Oba Wrestling in Georgia, submitted by Georgia. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body so that he can share with us the findings of the body on this nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is Chidaoba Wrestling in Georgia, submitted by Georgia. Chidaoba, or wrestling, is an ancient form of martial art practiced by a large proportion of the male population throughout all the regions, villages, and communities of Georgia. The practice encourages a healthy lifestyle and plays an important role in intercultural dialogue. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that Chidaoba, wrestling in Georgia, serves an important cultural function in the country, extending beyond the sporting performance. It promotes friendship and respect among people, and Georgians recognize it as an important symbol of their identity. The element will also promote human creativity by highlighting how resourceful wrestlers must be in combining different holds and making quick decisions. The proposed safeguarding measures include adjusting the national legal framework for sports and games, integrating wrestling into the educational system, providing training and coaching within the communities, improving the infrastructure needed to organize tournaments, promoting accompanying expressions such as music, dance, or costume making, and establishing a specialized museum devoted to Chidaoba. The identification and nomination of Chidaoba was done by the local community and practitioners, represented by the National Federation of Georgian Wrestling, researchers, and other experts. The evaluation body wishes to commend the state party for its precise description of community participation, including the division of gender roles and responsibilities. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe Chidaoba wrestling in Georgia on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. For this nomination, the Bureau is not in presence of any request for debate or amendment, and we shall therefore move to adopt the draft decision as a whole. Seeing no objection, I declare that Decision 13-10B15 duly adopted. It's my pleasure now to request Georgia to say a few words after this inscription. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for this opportunity. On behalf of the Georgian delegation, on behalf of all involved communities, groups and individuals who consider Chidaoba, Georgian wrestling, as an inseparable part of their cultural identity, I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to the committee members, Secretariat, evaluation body, and of course to all those people whose hard work and devotion contributed to the success of this nomination. Chidaoba bears an important cultural function and has a great social value for the communities in Georgia. It combines the elements of wrestling, music, dance, special dressing traditions. This element promotes ties between the generations, encourages mutual respect, and is widely spread among the various religious and ethnic communities in my country. We do believe that this new inscription will greatly contribute to the richness and diversity of the intangible heritage of the humanity, and will be vitally important for the preservation and further promotion of this element on the national as well as international levels. Jidaoba is the fourth element from Georgia on the representative list, and every new inscription dramatically increases awareness on the ICH in the country, highlights the exceptional value of 2003 Convention for further sustainable protection, transmission, and viability of the intangible heritage, as well as ensuring diversity of cultural expressions. Thank you very much for the decision. I congratulate all the communities in Georgia who consider this element as their cultural inheritance. And finally, I would like to extend my gratitude to the host country for their hospitality and excellent organization of this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgia. May I now request the committee to examine the nomination Pantan, Malay Oral Tradition, submitted jointly by Indonesia and Malaysia. I once again request the chairperson of the evaluation body to enlighten the committee on this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file, Pantan, Malay Oral Tradition, submitted by Indonesia and Malaysia. Pantan, Malay Oral Tradition is a poetic form most commonly dealing with the subject of love. Pantan is considered as the soul that brings together the various communities and aspects of Malay life, describing ideas and thoughts central to the local wisdom of its people. From the information included in the file, the nominations satisfy criteria R1 for inscription on the representative list. Pantan conveys social content as well as important moral and religious values, serves as a means of communication and instrument of guidance and support for its practitioners. However, the evaluation body considered that the information is not sufficient to assess criteria RE2, RE3, RE4, and RE5. The file mostly concentrates on the expected benefits of the inscription for the element and its community of practitioners, failing to explain how it could raise awareness about intangible cultural heritage in general, or how it could promote cultural diversity. Safeguarding measures are mostly state-organized, disregarding community participation. There are significant differences between the safeguarding plans submitted by Malaysia and Indonesia, which implies insufficient collaboration between the state parties. Although the file describes multiple meetings held between governmental authorities, researchers, communities, and NGOs, however, the nature of this meeting is unknown and community participation is lacking since their relation to the nomination process is unclear. Though the element is included in the two inventories of intangible cultural heritage present in the territories of the submitting state parties, however, information about how the inventories are updated and the community's participation in the inventory process is not clear. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refers Pantan, Malay Oral Tradition to the submitting state parties. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. For this nomination, it has been brought to the attention of the Secretariat that the submitting states do not wish to make an intervention. And may I ask committee members that we proceed straight away to the adoption of the draft decision and request that it be displayed on the screens. With your consent, I propose that we adopt draft decision 13-10B16 as a whole. I see no objection. Draft decision 13-10B16 is duly adopted. Let us now move to consider the inscription of Hurling submitted by Ireland. Let us first of all hear the chairperson of the evaluation body on this nomination. Mr. Omari, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is Hurling submitted by Ireland. Hurling or camogie, a form of hurling played by women, is a field game played by two teams which dates back 2,000 years and features strongly in Irish mythology. It's played throughout the highland of Ireland as well as overseas. Hurling is considered as an intrinsic part of Irish culture and plays a central role in promoting health and well-being, inclusiveness, and team spirit. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that hurling provides Irish people with a strong sense of identity. The game has been practiced across Ireland as well as in many other countries, and it has the potential to promote dialogue among different communities. The communities and groups were involved in planning the proposed safeguarding measures, which includes dissemination of knowledge primarily within the education system, in a dedicated museum through online platforms, workshops and courses, in-depth research and documentation. The nomination was initiated and prepared by institutions representing the community of practitioners, consisting mostly of volunteers. The evaluation body wishes to remind the state party that updating is an important part of the inventorying process and invites it to include detailed information concerning these aspects in its next periodic report on the implementation of the convention at the national level. Evaluation Board recommends that the committee inscribe Hurling on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The Bureau did not receive any request for debate or amendment for this file, and it is now for the committee to adopt the decision, the draft decision. Can we have it on the screen, please? And can we now propose to adopt draft decision 13-10B17 as a whole? I see no objection. Draft decision 13-10B17 is duly adopted. Thank you. Give the floor to Ireland to say a few words.
Thank you, Chair. And as this is Ireland's first occasion to speak, I would like to thank you for your wonderful hospitality here in Malaysia. On behalf of the
in Mauritius.
In Mauritius, my apologies. My apologies. I was concentrating on the last one, my apologies. I'll get to our inscription now. On behalf of the Government of Ireland, I would like to thank the members of the committee, the Secretariat and the evaluation body for their efforts on our submission of hurling. Ireland is deeply honoured to have hurling inscribed as our second element on the UNESCO representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. Ireland understands the importance of safeguarding and passing on our living culture in its many forms and has always been proud to share our culture around the world. Hurling is a game which is played not alone all over Ireland, but also in almost 40 countries around the world. I would like to thank the Gaelic Athletic Association and the Camogie Association, the bearers of the tradition of hurling, whose involvement with this nomination process has been instrumental to its success. For more than 100 years, these organisations have been committed to maintaining, strengthening and developing this ancient tradition. The game of hurling dates back well over 1,000 years, and today we now celebrate its continuity and transmission to new generations under the UNESCO listing. Ireland looks forward to ongoing and deepening engagement with the work of this convention and with UNESCO as a whole. Thank you again. We are truly honoured and grateful to have our cultural heritage recognised at this important forum alongside other precious traditions from around the world. And if I can take this opportunity to invite you to view a short video that explains and celebrates the game of hurling. Gurv Mila Mahagov Galer, and my apologies for the name at the start. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron, and congratulations. Video, please.
Hurling is a uniquely Irish field sport for teams, played with a hurley stick made of ash and a ball known as a schlitter. It is played on a pitch that is larger than in soccer, with the objective being to score as many goals and points as possible. A goal is scored by playing the ball under the crossbar between your opponent's goalposts, while a point is scored by playing the ball over the crossbar between these goalposts. A goal is worth the equivalent of 3 points. The ball, or schlitter, can be tossed from the hand and struck with a hurley, struck on the ground or in the air, and it can also be kicked or hand-passed. It may be caught in flight, but it cannot be thrown or lifted directly from the ground with the player's hand. The game is played by male and female players at child, youth and adult level. The female version is referred to as camogie. Small teams are the norm at child level, while thereafter youth and adult players progress to the full 15-a-side game, with each team made up of a goalkeeper, 6 backs, 2 midfielders and 6 forwards. The playing rules are implemented by a referee, who is assisted by 4 goal umpires and 2 sideline officials. And these rules have undergone significant change since the establishment of the GAA in 1884. Games usually consist of 2 halves of 30 to 35 minutes, and with ball speeds reaching 120 kilometers per hour, hurling is considered by many people to be the fastest and most skilled field sport in the world. And it's Irish to the core.
Thank you. Let us now move to examine the nomination of Reggae Music of Jamaica, submitted by Jamaica. I will now give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body to share with us the findings of the body. Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is the Reggae Music of Jamaica, submitted by Jamaica. Reggae music of Jamaica originated as the voice of marginalized groups, mainly in Western Kingston. However, nowadays the music is played and embraced by a wide cross-section of society, including various genders, ethnic and religious groups, but continues to act as a voice for all. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfies criteria R1, R3, and R4 for inscription on the representative list. The file demonstrates that reggae music plays a significant role in the life of musical communities and Jamaican society in general. The music gives creative expression to their belief systems, hopes and aspirations for the future, and serves as a very important factor of identity among the Rastafarian community. The viability of the element is ensured through transmission, research, and awareness-raising activities. A wide range of relevant stakeholders, led by a national technical committee, were involved in the preparation of the nomination file. However, the evaluation body considered that the information is not sufficient to assess criteria R2 and R5. Despite the potential of the element as a tool for promoting dialogue among people and appreciating cultural diversity among ethnic groups worldwide, the nomination concentrates on the historical backgrounds, highlighting Jamaica's international recognition as the original birthplace of reggae instead of contributing to a better understanding and improving the visibility of intangible cultural heritage in general. The file does not demonstrate how the inventory is maintained, the involvement of communities, groups, and relevant NGOs in the inventorying process, and information on the frequency of updating, the reference number, and names of the element in the inventory are also missing. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends that the committee refers reggae music of Jamaica to the submitting state. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I understand that the Bureau received a request for debate for this file. The floor is now open to committee members for debate. And we received amendments from Palestine and Cuba. May I request Palestine to take the floor, please?
شكرا سيد الرئيس. وبعد إذنكم لو تكرمتم بأن تعطي الكلمة أولا للوفد من كوبا وبعد كوبا سأخذ الحديث إن سمحت. شكرا.
Okay. Let us first of all hear Cuba and then we come back to Palestine.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Muchas gracias, señor presidente, y gracias a mi colega palestino que ha tenido a bien cederme la palabra. Esta es una nominación muy especial para nosotros, para los caribeños y para la región de América Latina. Hemos leído con atención el expediente y volvemos a encontrar las dificultades que se repiten en uno y otros de las nominaciones que hemos visto en torno al criterio 2 y al criterio 5. A nuestro juicio, y me voy a referir específicamente al criterio 2, el Reggae es en sí mismo una herramienta, un vehículo de diálogo para la paz, la comprensión y la tolerancia mediante la música, la danza, el baile y la cultura. Es símbolo de la unidad y diversidad que aboga por una inclusión social. y que hoy esa inclusión social se convierte en un camino fundamental para alcanzar el verdadero desarrollo sostenible. Su propio mensaje, que se transmite en su poderosa visualidad, sonoridad y energía, trasciende las fronteras del Caribe, las fronteras de Jamaica, las fronteras de la región africana y llega al mundo entero y a todos los lugares. Creo que la contribución del reggae a la visibilidad de la convención es muy clara y a nuestro juicio ejerce una influencia global sobre la necesidad de ese diálogo en la diferencia, sobre la necesidad de comprender que somos diversos, variados, pero hacerlo sobre la base del respeto, sobre la base de una respuesta y de una lucha constructiva por la superación, por la resiliencia, y nos parece que su contribución a la visibilidad de esta convención es fundamental. Hemos presentado un grupo de enmiendas a fin de poder inscribir esta candidatura, esta nominación en la lista representativa del patrimonio inmaterial. De igual modo quisiéramos solicitar al comité nos permita darle la palabra al Estado que ha presentado la candidatura a fin de que pueda expresar un poco y dar un poco más de información acerca del criterio 2 y 5 que ha señalado el órgano de evaluación, a quien también deseamos agradecer por la información presentada. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Let us come back to Palestine.
Shukran Sayyid al-Raïs. Et je remercie notre collègue de Cuba pour son éloquence et pour son introduction pertinente que je partage complètement. Ma première question à la délégation de Jamaïque, je suis vraiment étonné que cet élément arrive un peu tard. So I'm wondering why this delay. Such an element deserved to be on the list since years. So, after this question, I have a second technical question. Actually, for R2, my colleague evoked it, and I'll come back to it. But for R5, I would like to hear the answer of the delegation of Jamaica, while the evaluation body says that there is no clear explanation of the involvement of communities and concerned stakeholders in the inventorying process. So this is a specific question. We would like to listen to the explanation. And finally, regarding R2, in addition to what my colleague from Cuba has said, I think that it is clear for everybody that reggae music will clearly contribute in raising awareness and raising visibility of the ICH in general and the convention and the UNESCO itself. It has visibility much more than our organization, unfortunately. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Palestine. May I ask Colombia to please share with us their views. Colombia, please.
Gracias, presidente. Nosotros consideramos que el reggae no solamente es una expresión de la cultura jamaiquina, pero es una expresión que genera procesos de convivencia y tolerancia entre las comunidades y que genera esto en el mundo entero. Entonces consideramos que Jamaica debe tener el derecho de aclarar la información que no estaba bien aclarada en el expediente. Muchas gracias.
Colombia. I now request Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Chairman. We would like to join fellow committee members in supporting opening this file for discussion. We believe that prior to inscription to the representative list of humanity of ICH, reggae already represents global music and political phenomena, and ICH shaping Jamaican cultural identity. Its existence itself in a variety of forms like female reggae music addressing women's rights indicates high visibility and viability inside the communities. open access, easy interpretation, and active transmission on everyday basis naturally sustains the element and popularize it worldwide. National safeguarding measures listed in nomination like documenting, archiving, and legal protection shall complement existing knowledge and information on reggae music. Therefore, considering the scope of the element, we think that R2 criteria could have been met. On criteria R5, we would like to ask the Jamaican delegation to clarify the inconsistencies with this inventory issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. And of course, I'll request, let me now request Azerbaijan to take the floor. And the purpose is essentially for us to seek clarification from Jamaica. And of course, as an introductory remark, you can of course share with us your own observation. Thank you. Azerbaijan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Azerbaijan would like to commend Jamaica for submitting its first nomination since 2008, which happens to be a very vibrant element widely known beyond Jamaica and the Caribbean. We also like to thank the evaluation body for the thorough examination of the file. Our delegation partially shares the feedback of the evaluation body on this file. The contribution of the nomination to promoting the visibility of ICH in general could have been better explained, and most of the response to the section R21 of the nomination form doesn't seem to answer the question asked. We would, however, draw the attention of the committee to the first phrase in this section, which was also taken into account by the evaluation body in its recommendation about the role of Reggae as quote, facilitator for dialogue and the appreciation of cultural diversity among racial and ethnic groups worldwide. Our delegation believes that here the state party has attempted to shed some light on its vision of how the inscription would contribute to raising awareness about ICH in general, while referring to ICH as appreciation of cultural diversity. Finally, we would also draw the attention of the committee to the statement in another section, R22, which says, I quote, inscription will serve to add to the existing body of Caribbean elements to the representative list and increase the visibility of these various local and diasporic communities who have contributed to its formation while highlighting their creative genius. Here, the inscription is said to be a way to increase the visibility of Caribbean ICH in general among local and diaspora communities, which represents quite valuable information. Considering this, our delegation would tend to support positive recommendation, also taking into account the fact that many countries encounter difficulties with criterion R2. On criterion R5, with regard, Azerbaijan delegation carefully studied the feedback provided by the evaluation body. We note with appreciation the fact that Jamaica started to document Reggae music as early as in 1977, long before the convention was adopted. While you understanding the reservations that the evaluation body had when examining this criterion, would however remind the committee that inventorying is supposed to be built up and updated in every state party in the manner geared to its own situation as stipulated by Article 12.1 of the Convention. In our view, the contextual manner of building of inventories can also be reflected in the way inventory is named and referred to. In many countries, it is inventory, while other states may use the word database or catalog, which is totally fine as long as the principles of the convention are taken on board. This also concerns referencing, which also seems to be done in manner Jamaica used to do it since long ago. Finally, we found that in section R5.3, the state does speak about updating through cataloging, classifying, and updating materials related to the element. Moreover, concerning the participation of communities in inventory, section 5.6 mentions a national technical community under the auspices of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, which includes communities, groups, and non-governmental organizations that are directly involved in the recording, practice, documentation, research, and archiving of Reggae music. Considering this, our delegation considers this as sufficient information and would support changing referral to positive recommendation for criterion R5. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. I now give the floor to Poland.
Thank you, Chair. We would like to share with the committee our observation concerning this nomination, and this observation could help us to take more informed, let's say, decision. As to R2, as it has been already said, inscription of Reggae will obviously contribute to enhancing visibility of ICH in general, as this kind of music is already a global phenomenon. The main message of reggae music that we can read in the text of reggae bands is inclusion of all social actors, freedom and cooperation. This message was also a source of inspiration for Polish solidarity movement. Thus, we strongly believe that this nomination by itself will contribute to raising awareness about ICH all over the world. As to, just a moment, we also believe that the reggae bearers in Jamaica are fully entitled to express their happiness and pride that this music was born in Jamaica. And we also believe that their joy has inclusive, not exclusive character. We understand that the language and terminology that are used on the level of UNESCO might be not known by the local communities, and thus we do not expect from any bearers to be expert in ICH terminology. As to R5, the character of the inventory is clearly explained in the periodic report submitted by Jamaica that we have adopted on Monday. Though we are aware that perhaps in the nomination form its role and methodology used could have been better explained, we believe that we should take thorough information presented by Jamaica in this report into account. Moreover, in paragraph 14 of the general report summarizing the submitted periodic reports, this Jamaican inventory is considered as assisting communities in establishing databases relevant to their own local situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Poland. Maintenant, j'ai le plaisir d'inviter le Sénégal.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Sénégal souhaiterait d'abord féliciter l'organe d'évaluation, mais nous savons tous que le critère R2 pose problème. Nous en discutons depuis. Mais par rapport au rôle que le reggae pourrait jouer dans l'expression de la diversité culturelle, du rapprochement des peuples, du dialogue des cultures, là, nous avons quand même un point de vue assez particulier. En effet, le reggae n'est pas uniquement un genre musical qui a conquis le monde par ses mélodies. Non, pas que ça. Le reggae prêche la paix, le reggae prêche l'amour, le reggae prêche l'unité. Et là où il y avait des conflits, une diversité extrême, même en Jamaïque, le reggae l'avait résolu. Rappelez-vous, one love, one heart, let's get together and be all right. Quand Marley le chantait, c'était pour réconcilier les politiques en Jamaïque. Plus loin, pour nous l'Afrique, il y a un autre rapport avec le reggae. Parce que le reggae invoque des éléments historiques de la Nubie, de l'Éthiopie. Ne l'oubliez pas. Et le reggae, à la limite, était devenu un cri de ralliement en Afrique. Pour l'unité africaine, Africa must unite. Tout ça, c'était dans le reggae. Et nous le vivions au Sénégal, comme dans tous les pays d'Afrique, comme un sentiment d'appartenance à une diversité culturelle, un sentiment d'appartenance à un message adressé au monde. Et ce message, il nous est venu aujourd'hui ici à Port-Louis. Et aujourd'hui, ici à Port-Louis, on doit inscrire cette expression sur la liste du patrimoine représentatif. Et je ne vais pas terminer sans citer Bob Marley, parce que j'ai été, si vous voulez, enfant de Bob Marley, tout le monde le sait. Mais il disait, ne vis pas pour que ta présence se remarque. mais pour que ton absence se ressente. Il n'est plus là. Si on inscrit ce bien, on donnera raison à Marley. Il n'est plus là, mais son absence va se ressentir à travers notre décision. Nous nous associons à l'amendement de Cuba et de Palestine. Et nous vivons cela. Merci.
Merci, merci Sénégal pour cette déclaration pleine d'émotion. May I now request Philippine to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I hope I have the same passion as our Senegalese colleague, but I will be very formal. Mr. Chair, reggae music's significance as intangible cultural heritage is apparent around the world and cannot be denied. While we understand the evaluation body was limiting itself to the answers provided by the state party in the nomination form, it is thus difficult to fathom an ICH representative list without reggae. We note issues pertaining to R2 and R5 remain challenging for both nominating states parties and the evaluation body. On R2, it is a difficult question to answer when states parties are asked to assess the impact of the inscription of a specific element on the visibility of ICH in general. Even though the answer is self-evident that the inscription of reggae would have a positive impact of the recognition of ICH as a whole, it is not clearly spelled out in black and white in the nomination dossier. Hence, we feel that we should give the state party an opportunity to answer that question, since the evaluation body was not satisfied with the state party's answer. Again, had there been an opportunity for dialogue, and here we go again, between the state party and the evaluation body before the committee session, you would not have to go through this and waste precious time. All of us in the committee recognize that the representative list would only be enriched with the addition of reggae to it. As for R5, the state party indicated that it is in the automated dialogue of the Africa Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, which is the focal point for ICH in Jamaica. It is also indicated that the inventory is being reviewed and updated. We would like to hear also from the evaluation body why they had concerns with the answer provided by the state party to R5. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Philippine. May I now invite Guatemala to take the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. Nos unimos a la petición de Cuba de poder dar la oportunidad a Jamaica de poder explicar y ampliar la información. Algo importante resaltar en este caso es que sí se reconoce la participación amplia de las comunidades. Creo que de ahí partimos todo cuando hablamos de patrimonio inmaterial. Si no existe la participación de las comunidades, ya se complica el escenario. En este caso, sí existe y se reconoce la participación amplia de la comunidad, que yo como Guatemala me iría en ese sentido valorizar, en este caso, el proyecto de Jamaica. Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Thank you very much, Guatemala. It's my pleasure now to invite Armenia to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Armenia would like to join the positive ambience, and I would like to quote the birth certificate of UNESCO: since wars begin in the minds of men and women, it is in the minds of men and women that the defenses of peace must be constructed. So in line with these words, we would like to express our gratitude to Palestine and to Cuba for introducing the draft amendments, and with your permission, also to join the previous speakers to let the Jamaican side to make the clarifications, and we are for the positive outcome of this conversation, because we think that music is a means to enhance cultural dialogue, exchanges between everybody without leaving anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Zambia, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. To begin with, Zambia would like to join other members of this committee that have already spoken on this matter to congratulate the evaluation body on the job well done on this report and also this particular file. As a member that spoke so strongly in support of the recommendation to establish dialogue between the evaluation body and the submitting states during the 11th session in Addis Ababa, it gives us satisfaction to read from this report that dialogue was one of the working procedures adopted by the Secretariat prior to submitting the files to the evaluation body. We believe this has led to an increase in the number of successful submissions, both in terms of proposals and nominations. This is a step in the right direction, and would like to see this escalated to the engagement between submitting states and the evaluation body. We are, however, concerned that a reasonable number of submitting states still seem to struggle with the struggle to clearly understand the meaning of some of the criteria. This is specifically with R2 and the U2A. In this case, we want to concentrate on the issue of R2, which is relevant to the present case. This appears to be common with regard to elements, especially those that are already known. From our own analysis of referrals relating to R2, the evaluation body may need to further clarify what it requires from member states. Is it to state how visible and significant an element is, or is it how the inscription will specifically enhance this visibility or significance? Because when you read in between the lines, it's like they want to see how this particular inscription is going to enhance the visibility or the significance of the site. So I think they need to come out very clear in that regard. We believe once this is cleared, very few states will have a problem in understanding or addressing this criteria. With a few observations made, Mr. Chairman, our delegation would like to support the proposal by Cuba and Palestine to inscribe reggae on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Togo. It's my pleasure now to invite Japan.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Merci,
Chair.
Monsieur le Président.
So,
Je
sorry.
remercie l'organe d'évaluation.
The Zambia, in fact. Thank you. Je passe la parole au Togo. Mille excuses.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je vais profiter de cette occasion pour remercier l'organe d'évaluation et pour remercier aussi l'État partie qui a présenté cet élément. Nous savons depuis longtemps que le reggae est un facteur vraiment unificateur. Comme l'a dit le Sénégal, la Palestine et Cuba, nous sommes ravis que cet élément soit présenté aujourd'hui ici et nous soutenons sa candidature, qu'il soit inscrit, parce que depuis notre enfance, le reggae faisait bouger tout le monde et le reggae jusqu'à présent traverse les frontières. Il est vraiment unificateur. On ne saurait rater cette occasion. Je vous remercie.
Merci, le Togo. It's my pleasure now to invite Japan
Thank
to
you very
join
much,
in.
Chair. We'd like to echo and join the positive ambience of many other countries. And it is needless to say that reggae is so well and accepted by the international community and loved by many people. And Japan is not the exception. I personally loved reggae music a long time, actually. And we have just checked the file, and as for the criteria 2, we believe that the file correctly points out the role of reggae as a facilitator of dialogue. And with this, we believe that we can regard that the file has already met this criteria. And as for criteria 5, we'd like to listen to the explanation from the representative of Jamaica. But already, actually, there are many, good support, and we see that we look forward to hearing a very positive and convincing explanation from the representative of Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. Le Liban, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's hard to add much to what all my colleagues have said. We're talking about international music that touches our hearts. I would like to thank the countries that submitted the amendments. We definitely like to listen to the experience, to the explanations, but we already support the amendments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lebanon. Le Cameroun.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, de me passer la parole pour la première intervention du Cameroun. Nous souhaitons d'abord remercier l'État de l'île Maurice qui a mis des grands paquets, qui a mis des paquets pour recevoir cette assemblée, ce comité, ces travaux du comité. Nous voulons aussi remercier le président qui modère avec maestria les travaux de ce comité et remercier aussi le secrétariat, la convention pour la qualité des documents. Le Cameroun voudrait se joindre aux autres délégations, notamment Cuba, Palestine, pour cet élément unificateur qu'est le reggae, afin d'avoir plus d'explications de l'État partie qui a soumis ce dossier, qui arrive, comme l'a dit ici le Sénégal, peut-être à un moment où on ne s'attendait plus, nous pensions que le reggae devait déjà être classé comme élément de l'humanité. Donc nous souhaitons que des explications soient données par l'État partie de la Jamaïque et que nous puissions arriver au classement de cet élément très important pour pour la paix dans le monde et qui sera aussi important pour les générations futures. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Merci, le Cameroun. J'ai le plaisir maintenant d'inviter le Djibouti.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais tout d'abord féliciter l'organe d'évaluation pour l'excellent travail réalisé, caractérisé par sa technicité et son savoir-faire. En effet, l'organe d'évaluation constitue le pilier fondamental de la crédibilité des sélections des dossiers qui ont été transmis. À ce niveau, je tiens à souligner l'importance de se pencher sur le critère R2. Ce critère qui nécessite des éclaircissements, des approfondissements. Et là encore, au niveau des communautés et des pays, des États partis qui déposent le dossier, les problèmes de renforcement des capacités se posent encore. Là, je crois qu'il faut s'y pencher sérieusement sur le point R2. Et je souscris aux différentes propositions qui ont été avancées dans ce sens-là. Pour ce qui est du dossier déposé par la Jamaïque, le reggae, qui constitue en quelque sorte, qui devait être déposé depuis longtemps et inscrit sur la liste du patrimoine de l'humanité. Moi, je le pensais qu'il a été fait en 2011, lors du comité qui s'est tenu à Bali, mais ce n'est pas le cas, je crois. Et je souscris à toutes les interventions précédentes relatives à l'inscription de cet élément dans la liste du patrimoine mondial de l'humanité. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Djibouti. J'ai le plaisir maintenant d'inviter le Chypre. Cyprus, please.
Thank you. Cyprus also supports the amendments for the inscription of reggae. We haven't spoken so far because we agree and we didn't want to delay the procedure. Thank you.
Thank you. Le Kuwait, s'il vous plaît.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Kuwait would also like to agree with the proposal by Cuba and the other member states in the committee. and would like to inquire about the inventory from the submitting member state. Thank you.
Thank you. China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My delegation follows very closely. Follows. Can I hear? Okay, thank you. My delegation follows closely all the interventions by the committee members, and we do appreciate that Jamaica nominated this valuable element. And I believe that all these interventions must be based on a common understanding that all the evaluation bodies' work must be based on the materials or nomination files submitted by the states party. So given that context, any of their comments or their recommendations has nothing to do to judge the values of the nominated element itself. So they have to do the technical evaluation work based on what they were submitted to the evaluation body. So we do believe that the reggae music has a numerous musical influence in the region or even in the world. So in that case, so we do agree with other committee members to request the floor to the Jamaica to give further clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you, China. May I now request the Netherlands to take the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We share the sentiments in the room that reggae is a very interesting and unifying element. But we would like to be able to make a more informed decision. Like other committee members remarked already, many nominating state parties experience difficulties with fulfilling R2. The evaluation body states that the community of practitioners who identify with the element should be at the forefront of any action undertaken to safeguard and raise the visibility of the element. And we would like to ask the evaluation body to elaborate some more on their conclusion on R2. Thank you.
Thank you, Netherlands. Before giving the floor to the evaluation body, I wish Jamaica to respond to the various queries and give us some clarifications on the points that have been raised by committee members. But I see Austria wishes to say a few words before that. Austria, please.
Thank you. Just in addition to what has been said, I would like to ask the state party to explain one sentence under R5 where it says the inventory is currently being reviewed and updated in keeping with the guidelines of the convention, because I had a look at R5 and I also had a look at the report of the state party that was submitted for this cycle and that we have already dealt with under item 7A. And it seems to be a very complex inventorying process, and I think, as it says in Article 12, each state party shall draw up in a manner geared to its own situation the one or more inventories. So I think if the state party could explain, as has already been requested, the inventorying process and including particularly how the communities and groups were involved or are involved in the inventorying process. Thank you.
I see also Sri Lanka wishing to intervene at this juncture, and I'll also invite Sri Lanka to...
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Sri Lankan delegation agrees with the sentiments expressed by the other committee members and supports to the amendments.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, it's now Jamaica to take the floor and to give us some clarifications on the issues which have been raised. Jamaica, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Jamaica welcomes this opportunity to respond to the evaluation body in respect of its comments in relation to criterion R2 and criterion R5. In terms of the response to R2, in terms of how the element has inspired and speaks to foster better understanding, reggae music has influenced and inspired many other major musical genres worldwide, such as Pinoy in the Philippines, reggaeton in Latin America, reggae raja in India, Jawaian reggae in Hawaii. The birth of these genres bear evidence to the strength of the oral literary traditions, knowledge and practices embodied in the reggae music itself. Reggae music has inspired the creation of other intangible cultural heritage elements, such as dub and dub poetry. Dub technique and style originated in Jamaican reggae around the 1970s, when the Roland Space Echo was used to produce echo and delay effects. In terms of initiatives and programs in support of the sustenance of the element, formal academic programs on reggae music have been established in territory through such organizations as the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, the Reggae Studies Unit at the University of the West Indies, the Alpha Academy, which caters to young students. Internationally, academic programs on reggae music are offered at the prestigious Berklee School of Music in Boston and the Musicians Institute in California. International conferences are also staged to improve the visibility of the element and ICH in general. The state party is constantly engaging the element in facilitating global dialogue to promote cultural diversity. And as such, we have hosted and are in the process of hosting international conferences, such as the 15th International Islands Cultures and Music Tourism Conference, which will be held in July of 2019 in Jamaica. I also want to point out that UNESCO selected Kingston, Jamaica as one of 3 pilot projects where a series of workshops on intangible cultural heritage and creativity for sustainable cities, community-based inventories, and analysis of intangible heritage in urban areas will commence in early 2019. Communities where reggae music is practiced and recorded, such as Trenchtown, Western Kingston, where Bob Marley lived, will be venues for community-based inventorying. This complements the fact that Kingston was designated a creative city of music by the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization on December 11, 2015, and Kingston, the capital, is recognized worldwide as the birthplace of reggae music. Since 2012, the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank, the national focal point for ICH in Jamaica, has facilitated stakeholder networks comprising members of the Kumina, Rastafarian, Revival, East Indian, Chinese, and Maroon communities, to name a few. This network has facilitated greater dialogue amongst traditional communities within a spirit of tolerance and mutual respect, and has encouraged the visibility of local cultural elements. In February 2008, the state party designated that month, the month of February, incidentally the birth month of world music icon Bob Marley and the Crown Prince of Reggae, Dennis Brown, as Reggae Month. During that month, there is an intensification in the engagement of the public, both locally and internationally, in cultural communities, in cultural programs throughout various communities about reggae. The Jamaica Music Museum, for example, hosts its annual Ground Nation series, and reggae practitioners make presentations in the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association's lecture series. Also, the annual Bob Marley lecture is staged with the cooperation of the Bob Marley Foundation. It is noteworthy that iconic exponents of reggae music, including Peter Tosh and Bob Marley, were members of the Rastafarian faith. In recognition of the contribution of Rastafari to reggae music, and the fact that superstars Jimmy Cliff and Bunny Wailer of the original Bob Marley and the Wailers celebrate their birthdays in the month of April, the month in which Jamaica also celebrates the anniversary of the visit of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I and the spiritual head of Rastafari to the island. The state party observes April as Rastafari Month. In respect of Criterion 5, I wish to point out that the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank, the national focal point for the implementation of the convention, maintains and updates an inventory on reggae amongst other intangible cultural heritage elements. And the inventory can be viewed online at the acij-ioj.org.jm. And as been stated earlier, the inventory is updated bi-monthly and reviewed annually. We're actually now in the process of a major overhaul of the inventory and taking into account our current needs, as well as being mindful of the requirements of R5. Jamaica's Legal Deposit Act requires that all locally produced material on the element be deposited at the National Library of Jamaica, which itself also maintains an inventory of intangible cultural heritage. This ensures the upgrade and constant maintenance of that inventory of the element, as well as other ICH elements present in the state party. Communities have created and continue to maintain and update record and music inventories to the establishment of recording studios. This includes, but not limited to, the King Jammy's Recording Studio, Bob Marley Foundation, and the Tough Gong Recording Studios. In the inner city community of Trenchtown, the birthplace of reggae music, a state-of-the-art community studio called the Jamaica Music Institute, or JAMIN for short, project was opened in February 2012. Various inventories on the element are also housed at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, the Bob Marley Museum, the Peter Tosh Museum, and the Jamaica Music Museum, which are accessible to the public and to practitioners alike. UNESCO's series of workshops on intangible heritage and creativity for sustainable cities community-based inventories project, scheduled to commence in early 2029, will also reinforce specific community-based inventories in the Western Kingston region and will be used to further inventorize the element. I want to also make, in terms of the visibility of the element, the fact that some years ago, the Smithsonian institution put on a major exhibition on reggae, which highlighted the importance of the element. This exhibition, Jamaica exhibition, that was the title, was mounted in France and has now gone to Brazil, which also demonstrates the visibility of the element and its attractiveness to other state parties that have shown and interest in the element. It is our considered view, therefore, that the inscription of reggae to the representative list will raise visibility not only of the element, but of the convention as a whole, and in doing so, will raise awareness of other elements worldwide. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jamaica. Having heard all committee members expressing their views on this particular inscription, and also after having heard the explanation of Jamaica, let us now move to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen. And given the Netherlands.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, our question was actually targeting, asking the evaluation body to give some more explanation. So we would first like to hear some feedback from the...
Yes, sorry, Netherlands. And in fact, Netherlands asked some clarification from the evaluation body. Let us hear the chairperson, Mr. Omare first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank the committee members for their contribution, their comments. I know quite a number of you are lovers of reggae music, and most of your explanation so far was talking about the element itself. What the evaluation body does, we don't really evaluate the element, but we do evaluate the information that is contained in the file. And in these two criteria that were not met, for instance, RE2, it has two sections which request, it has three sections which request for information. One of the sections we want to know after inscription, how is the inscription going to contribute to the visibility of ICH in general? That is the information required in that section. Then the other section is talking about dialogue. So if information is on dialogue is clear and the one of visibility of, after the inscription, the visibility on ICH in general is not clear, then the whole criteria, you can't say that it is met. Also, there is another section which talks about respect for cultural diversity and human creativity. Those are the areas that we were looking before we gave our recommendation as far as RE2 is concerned. When we move to RE5, there are also some sections where some information was missing, and we highlighted there was no information about frequency of updating, the reference numbers of this inventory, the names of the inventory. According to us, that is what was missing. Following the challenges that most state parties are meeting when handling RE2 and even RE5, I want to take this opportunity to thank the government of Japan for their generous contribution for the upcoming open-handed working group, which will give experts, state members, on the reflection of this RE2, because essentially the representative list information, the RE2 plays a very significant role. Now going back to the information that Jamaica has given, This is the information that the evaluation body had requested, and that's why they gave a referral option. The information you have given right now is not the information in the file. I wish you had given this information, then these criteria probably could have been met. And I'm sure you are going to get more reflections on RE2 and probably RE5, and this will enhance the work of the evaluation body and the committee in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair of the evaluation body. And after having heard the explanation from Jamaica and also the reaction of the chairperson of the evaluation body and also the feelings of most members of the committee which spoke on this motion for amendment to the draft resolution, may I therefore ask the committee to adopt the draft decision as shown on the screen as a whole, as amended by, with the amendment as proposed by Cuba and Palestine. May I wish to request committee members just to raise their nameplate so that we can record those who are in favor of adopting draft decision 10B18 with the amendments proposed by Palestine and Cuba. Therefore, we have Senegal, Sri Lanka, Djibouti, Guatemala, Poland, Togo, Cyprus, Japan, Zambia, behind Zambia I can't read, Philippines, Kazakhstan, Colombia, Armenia, Palestine, Kuwait, China, Mauritius, Azerbaijan, Cameroon, and Lebanon. Therefore, I declare decision 13-10B18 duly adopted. May I now give the floor to Jamaica, but just for the sake of convenience and for the information of all members, we will give the floor to Jamaica, and thereafter we will hear, as a request of Jamaica, some music, and just after the speech of Jamaica and the music which you're going to hear, I'm proposing to suspend the sitting for 15 minutes for reasons which I believe is apparent to everybody. Jamaica, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jamaica expresses its sincere thanks for the tremendous support we have received from state parties for the inscription of the reggae music of Jamaica. We express particular thanks to Cuba and Palestine for their open and gracious support. And we're heartened by the show of camaraderie of the many state parties here, and appreciate your love and respect for an element that is the heart and soul of my country. We consider intangible cultural heritage to be of extreme significance in a country's identity. And so in Jamaica, we are proud of the fact that this element of reggae music is one in which we often describe as that which we eat, sleep, and breathe. Reggae is no longer only ours. The world has now taken it as their own. As a long-standing reggae producer myself, I thank UNESCO for this inscription. Jamaicans have long recognized that this element means so much to so many, all around the world. With this inscription, Jamaica is of the view that it will invariably bring even more visibility to the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity and intangible cultural heritage as a whole. The number of reggae music practitioners across the globe grows every day, and as a nation, Jamaica continues to support academic conferences in its jurisdiction, such as the Jamaica Music Conference and the upcoming sixth Biennial Global Reggae Conference. These conferences include practitioners sharing with other reggae stakeholders, students, and the public. The music has also spawned a number of large music festivals across the globe, most notably the Rotterdam Music Festival in Spain, attracting upwards of over 100,000 music lovers and academics each year. Special note should also be made of the ongoing digitizing and bi-monthly updating of the national inventory maintained by the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica. The Jamaica Memory Bank is ongoing. We're also committed to engaging fully local communities' inventories, such as in Waterhouse and Trenchtown, which will be a part of the UNESCO Heritage and Creativity for Sustainable Cities community-based inventories project. We thank UNESCO for this initiative. Again, colleagues, I reiterate our deepest appreciation for the overwhelming love Jamaica has received for reggae music, which is a testament to its global impact. And therefore, at this time, I fittingly end with the words of reggae icon Bob Marley: one love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. I now invite you all to sing this song with us.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Let's get together and feel alright. Many rivers. I also was very Congratulations, my brother. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sorry, we're more proud.
Are you happy? This is our president.
Excellent job. Good moment. Good moment. Such a big moment. Kazakhstan. Yes. Congratulations. I love it. You love it in Panama. Wait for big elections. Why? Good job. Hey. Congratulations. Well done. Yes, yes.
Ne bevimo su do klepsa?
Excellency and worship. Excellency and worship. Ask her to go with them. Take her with them. SG. Thank you. Yeah, congratulations, SG. That's from Senegal. Yeah. Merci. Congratulations. Okay. Look if you don't to the cake. I don't get the memo yet. I don't get the memo yet.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And bear with us. After we start in 2 minutes, please settle down. Ladies and gentlemen, after this very historical moment, unfortunately, we can't just continue celebrating with music reggae. And this, of course, I'm sure we will do it this afternoon. Let us move to consider the next inscription, a nomination on our list. This is a nomination on Rehearsing, ritual visits of deities in masks and costumes, submitted by Japan. I now request the chairperson of the evaluation body to share with the committee its findings. Mr. Omar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is Rehearsing, ritual visits of deities in masks and costumes, submitted by Japan. Rehearsing rituals take place annually in various regions of Japan on days that mark the beginning of the year or when the season changes. Such a ritual system from folk beliefs that deities from the other world visit communities and usher the new year or a new season with happiness and good luck. From the information included in the file, the nomination satisfied all 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that Rehearsing ritual visits of deities in masks and costumes play an important role in children's upbringing, strengthens bonds with other family members, and promotes respect for local traditions. The element will raise awareness about the inclusiveness of intangible cultural heritage and its ability to transcend gender divisions and bring generations together. The safeguarding measures include the transmission, identification, and promotion of the element. The preparation of the nomination file involved the active participation of the community members at all stages. The evaluation body wishes to congratulate the state party for submitting a well-prepared nomination, clearly structured, and commends it for delivering a video which reflects all the key aspects of the element and allows viewers to understand the element in detail. The evaluation board recommends that the committee inscribe Rehearsing ritual visit of the deities in masks and costumes on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The Bureau didn't receive any request for debate for this file, and therefore I propose that the committee adopts the draft decision as a whole as shown on the screens. Seeing no objection, I declare that draft decision 13-10B-19 duly adopted. Congratulations to Japan. And may I now invite a representative of Japan to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the committee, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the people of Japan, in particular, those of the 10 concerned communities, I express my heartfelt gratitude to all the members of the committee and Executive Evaluation body, as well as the Secretariat, for the inscription of the life ocean ritual visit by deities in masks and costumes. The life ocean is traditional rituals to celebrate a new year and other particular season or events. They are deeply rooted in each community and give opportunities to people of the community to reconfirm their unity and folk belief. They involve all people of the community, young and old, including those who left the community for economic and social reasons. The 10 communities are all strongly committed to safeguarding the respective life ocean ritual. The government of Japan also reconfirmed its firm commitment to safeguarding these important rituals together with the communities concerned, so as to pass this heritage to future generations. We prepare a short video to visually introduce life ocean to all of you. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Japan, and once again, congratulations.
On days that mark the beginning of the year, or days when seasons change, deities travel from the outer world to visit houses. They spread happiness and good luck before returning from whence they came. Every New Year's Eve, the Toshiron ritual is held in Koshikijima of Kagoshima. Deities wearing masks and capes made of plants visit households with children, then admonish them for their behavior over the past year and have them make vows for the new year. This nomination of Daihoshin encompasses 10 Daihoshin rituals that are designated as important intangible folk cultural properties in Japan. These Daihoshin rituals are performed in various regions of Japan, from the Tohoku region.
Thank you very much. We will now move to consider nomination by Jordan on As-Samir in Jordan. May I request the evaluation body through its chairperson to give us its findings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The next file is As-Samir in Jordan, submitted by Jordan. As As-Samir entails mainly of dancing and singing and is performed on various occasions such as during marriage ceremonies. The practice consolidates social bonds and promotes cohesion. From the information included in the file, the nominations satisfy criteria R1, R4, and R5 for inscription on the representative list. As Samir is performed by different clans in all governorates of Jordan during festival occasions, and it embodies the history of Jordan and provides the communities concerned with a sense of identity and pride. A wide range of stakeholders, communities, and NGOs participated in the nomination process. However, the evaluation body considered that the information is not sufficient to assess criteria R2 and R3. Although as Samer represents popular art and oral traditions based on collective performances. However, its contribution in raising the visibility of ICH in general and the promotion of human creativity are not clearly explained. Instead, the file concentrates on the benefits of inscription to the country. The safeguarding measures proposed could raise the visibility of the element, but the Ministry of Culture intends to use a top-down approach of establishing a higher committee consisting of experts, specialists, and practitioners responsible for ensuring that the art does not evolve or change in any respect which is contrary to the spirit of the Convention, as constant recreation is an inherent aspect of living heritage. The role of practitioners in the implementation of the safeguarding plan is essentially missing. Therefore, the evaluation body recommends to the committee to refer as a Samer in Jordan to the submitting state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. For this nomination, there have been a request for debate and amendment, I understand, from Palestine on behalf of the Arab group. May I give the floor now to Palestine.
شكرا سيدي الرئيس. أود أولا أن أشكر الهيئة التقييمية لما قامت به من عمل دؤوب في جميع الملفات وتحديدا بهذا الملف، وأشكر رئيس الهيئة للشرح الذي قدمه قبل قليل. السامر هو عنصر منتشر في منطقتنا، موجود في الأردن، موجود في فلسطين، موجود في السعيدية، موجود في عدة بلدان من الوطن العربي. وكما تعلمون هذا العنصر يضم العديد من النشاطات الفنية والتعددية الخلفيات الثقافية، فهناك الموسيقى والرقص ناهيك عن الزي وما شابه ذلك. باعتقادي من الواضح نحن نعلم أن الهيئة التقييمية لا تقيم العنصر بحد ذاته، وهذا قيل عدة مرات. الهيئة التقييمية تقوم بتقييم المعلومات الموجودة في ملف الترشيح. للأسف الجميع يعلم أن المعيار الثاني فيه مشاكل بعض الشيء وغير واضح لجميع دول الأطراف، وتعلمون أن الخبراء في لقائهم القادم سيبحثون هذا الأمر. Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, I think that at this stage this element deserves to be inscribed, and that's why Palestine, on behalf of the Arab group, has submitted the amendments that we will see a little bit later. And in this regard, I would kindly invite our colleagues to support these amendments after hearing the explanations of the Jordanian delegation. I believe that no file is perfect, even if some files have the 5 criteria met that can we use as an example. But nevertheless, the files that has some problems with R2, and we know all the referred files have problems with R2, but for the other criterions, and R3 is the most important maybe criteria since it is in the heart of the aims of the convention. We see that the remarks of the evaluation body are pertinent, and that's why I would like that our colleagues from the committee have the occasion to hear the Jordanian delegation in order to answer to the concerns raised by the evaluation body, especially regarding R3. regarding R2, of course, our colleague have some answers, but for R3, there are so many concerns raised. First, for example, the involvement of communities in preparing the safeguarding plan. Secondly, also the role of these communities in its implementation. The evaluation body considers that these things were not clear. Besides that, there is the question of freezing the element while the intangible cultural heritage elements should be evolving, not the contrary, and we agree on that. So, Mr. Chair, with your permission, I would like to give the floor to our colleague from Jordan in order to answer all these concerns that has been raised in the evaluation of the evaluation body. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Palestine. I propose, of course, to give the floor to Jordan in due course. But for now on, let us hear Kuwait, Lebanon, and Kazakhstan first. Kuwait, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. The State of Kuwait would also like to thank the evaluating body on their work. And with regards to the Samir file, it is a vital element of Jordan's ICH. It is widely present in the life of individuals and communities. The fact that it is performed at major private and public gatherings, as well as the number of massive participation in folklore ensembles, show that the inscription is an expression of a strong desire of individuals, communities, and institutions to facilitate the survival and transmission of this element and to emphasize its importance. And we also have a question to the submitting state party. It is not clear how the communities, groups, and individuals were involved in proposing safeguarding measures. Could the submitting state party please explain what are the roles of practitioners in the implementation of the safeguarding plan? Thank you.
Thank you, Lebanon. I give the floor now to Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Chairman. We would like to express our appreciation of the great work done by the evaluation body and close consideration of this file with some quite important remarks regarding the essence of this file. However, we would like to say that in response to visibility and human creativity requirements, inscription of As-Samer as the nomination states shall promote, in our view, heritage rituals and ethnic wedding ceremonies in Jordan and abroad. Wider practice of an element cherishing family values, tribal affiliation, interaction of youth and elders shall attract local youth, media and researchers to observe, participate and document different aspects of As-Samer. Nomination underlines that inscription shall depict Jordan's cultural diversity that we understand as a rich variety of folk costumes, ancient rituals, music and dance elements, and finding common historic roots with other cultures, not necessarily neighboring ones. Acknowledging high concern and commitment of the government to safeguard the element, we find many measures listed, including establishing a higher committee of experts and bearers to be in congruence with the convention if the nominating party decides to work a bit further on adapting it indeed to the requirements. Ritualistic nature of As-Samer and its sustainment within different clans and communities emphasizes the importance of safeguarding its innate purpose and meaning. Therefore, we should suggest looking at the wording of ensuring no exposure to any change as a phrase for protecting the element from distortion and commercialization. Therefore, we support the distinguished delegation of Palestine's movement to open the file for a debate by the committee. And I would like the Jordanian delegation, if it's given the floor, to give an answer to the following question. How would they respond to the evaluation body's remarks on the undesirability of establishing a special higher committee under the Ministry of Culture? Thank you.
Thank you. Lebanon, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais féliciter l'organe d'évaluation pour son travail minutieux. Je voudrais également remercier la Jordanie pour son dossier de candidature sur El Samer, une danse nationale mais aussi régionale exécutée dans différentes occasions dans tous les gouvernorats du pays. Donc, nous appuyons les amendements apportés par la Palestine, mais aimerions aussi nous informer à propos du critère 3, dans lequel il est mentionné que le ministère de la Culture prévoit de créer un comité supérieur constitué d'experts, de spécialistes et de praticiens chargés de veiller à ce que cet élément n'évolue ni ne change d'aucune manière. Cette intention est contraire à la définition même du patrimoine culturel immatériel au sens de l'article 2.1 de la Convention, puisque la recréation est un aspect essentiel du patrimoine culturel immatériel. La Jordanie peut-elle nous donner quelques explications sur cette question?
Merci beaucoup, le Liban. Et maintenant, je demande à Azerbaïdjan de prendre la parole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Azerbaijan would like to thank Jordan for submitting this very interesting file, which encourages social cohesion among communities in Jordan, while promoting the respect for women and highlighting their significant role in the practice of this element. We also commend the evaluation body for the accurate evaluation of this file. With regard to criterion R2 and the visibility of ICH in general, our delegation would tend to think that there is room for positive consideration of this criterion. Though the file could have elaborated a bit more on this issue, we would draw the attention of the committee to second paragraph of section 2, which states, and I quote, UNESCO recognition of As-Samar art would lead to a broader interest in the intangible cultural heritage. It will encourage national institutions concerned to continue their efforts in accordance with specific plans and strategies to put this heritage in the position it deserves. In our view, this information and reflection about the visibility perspective would be enough to satisfy the criterion in the visibility of ICH in general. In this context of these arguments, while considering the specific context of this nomination and elements, as well as given the complexity of the possible reply to this question of promotion of human creativity in case of a Samar element, our delegation would tend to support positive recommendation of this criterion. With regard to criterion R3, we also believe that more specific information could have been provided on this role of communities in the safeguarding process. We find information in the section 3b, which speaks directly about the contribution of local communities and their wish to build upon partnership with popular bands to implement the safeguarding measures. We also note the wish to establish Jordanian Summer Association, which will support the safeguarding and networking between popular bands in Jordan, which is a kind of specific role practitioners are expected to plan in the implementation of the safeguarding measures. This being said, we would support changing referral to positive recommendation for criterion R2. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. It's my pleasure now to invite Jamaica to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We simply want to support the sentiments expressed by Palestine.
Thank you very much. Armenia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In line with what Jamaica has said, we also would like to see this file open and positive outcome for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Armenia. Djibouti, s'il vous plaît, vous avez la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Tout d'abord, permettez-moi de féliciter la technicité de l'organe d'évaluation qui a fait un excellent travail. Je félicite également la Jordanie qui a présenté ce dossier Al-Samar pour son inscription sur le mondial de l'humanité. L'important dans ce cadre-là, c'est que je voudrais qu'on puisse donner la parole aux représentants de la Jordanie pour qu'ils puissent nous donner davantage d'informations sur le plan de sauvegarde qu'ils auront mis en garde et mis en place, ainsi que les mesures qu'ils prévoient pour garantir la récréation et le dynamisme de cet élément. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Djibouti. Mais maintenant, je donne la parole au Chypre.
Thank you, Mr. President. Cyprus also supports the amendments, but we would like to have more clarifications regarding the criteria R2 and R3 by the delegation of Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyprus. Now I invite China to take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. China do appreciate the evaluation body for its work done and thanks Jordan for submitting this nomination. We understand that this nomination represents a popular art and oral traditions and also contributed to the interaction among different communities and the cultural dialogues. And we do have the same question as the distinguished delegates of Kazakhstan, which regards to the higher committee established by the Ministry of Culture, which was mentioned on Section 3B regarding the safeguarding measures. So we would like to, since we understand this is still a committee to be established, so we would like to further clarification on why and how will this committee work and what's the intention for this committee so that we could understand better about this safeguarding measure. Thank you.
Thank you, China. May I now invite Guatemala to take the floor.
Gracias, señor presidente. Apoyamos la petición de Palestina. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Le Sénégal, s'il vous plaît.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le Sénégal appuie l'amendement présenté par la Palestine. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Sénégal. May I now invite Netherlands?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we understand, As-Samar represents an important art of oral traditions and collective performances. Concerning R3, the evaluation body is concerned about a top-down approach in the safeguarding measures for the element through the establishment of a higher committee consisting of experts, specialists and practitioners responsible for ensuring, and I quote, that the art of As-Samar does not evolve or change in any respect. The evaluation body remarks that this intention goes against the definition of intangible cultural heritage, and we would like to ask the evaluation body to elaborate on this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Netherlands. May I now invite Cuba to take the floor, please.
Gracias, señor presidente. Nuestra delegación desea sumarse a lo expresado por las delegaciones que nos han antecedido y también deseamos apoyar que esta nominación sea inscrita en la lista representativa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Cuba. I now give the floor to Austria.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Well, as has already been pointed out by the delegation of the Netherlands, Section 3B in the file is problematic. And I was a bit surprised that the evaluation body did not point to point 4 in the file, because it says encourage women to contribute to and participate in this art by highlighting their traditional role completely. And I think since gender equality is of such importance, I would like to ask the state party to give a clarification on what this sentence means so that we can make sure it's, we are clear on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Austria. Before inviting the state party to take the floor, I'll give the floor to the chairperson of the evaluation body, and thereafter, after its clarification, of course, Jordan will be in a better position to respond. Chairperson of the evaluation body, please.
Thank you, Chairperson. In regard to the aspect that talks about forming a specialist specialized committee that will ensure that the element does not evolve or change. As you all understand, the whole essence of ICH, this is a living heritage. It is constantly recreated. So the essence of ensuring that it doesn't change, its involvement doesn't change, that is contrary to the convention and is very clear. And that is what we meant when we say that this is against the convention. You can refer to the convention, especially Article 2. It really explains about that. Thank you. That is the clarification I can make.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. May I now invite Jordan to take the floor to answer to the various queries raised by committee members. Jordan, you have the floor.
شكرا سيد الرئيس على إعطائي الفرصة للحديث حول هذا الملف وأيضا الإجابة عن كثير من الأسئلة التي طرحت حوله. أولا أود أن أشكركم على الإدارة الحكيمة لجلسات هذا المؤتمر، كما أود أن أشكر لجنة التقييم على جهدها المشكور وعلى سعيها لتقييم هذه الملفات تقييما موضوعيا، كما أشكر الدول الأطراف المشاركة في اللجنة الدولية الحكومية. أود الآن أن أتحول إلى اللغة الإنجليزية للتمكن من توفير الوقت وأيضا وضع الأفكار في مكانها. The Jordanians believe that a Samer represents them nationally and internationally. They perceive it as a communication channel through which to transmit their cultural values and way of life. For it ideally reflects their traditions, norms, and social character. Dance performances are thereof seen as the means to break down cultural barriers. If this element is inscribed, it will enable Jordanians to strengthen their interaction with other culture on the basis of parity and dignity. The inscription will mean a better international recognition of the element, thus arousing a growing interest of experts, artists, general public, and others, which will contribute to the enrichment of the knowledge about the Samer heritage. It will allow distinguishing and promoting expressions around the world that are useful to achieve sustainable development. A Samer is increasingly present in international festivals and exhibitions and cultural cooperation in cultural cooperation activities in the world. It will make the communities, groups, and the entire Jordanians and international community appreciative and aware of the policies, international policies, especially UNESCO, towards safeguarding intangible cultural heritage. A Samer is an identity marker. Its inscription would serve to raise its profile and promote cultural diversity and understanding in the increasingly globalized world. As for the safeguarding measures, which include its promotion through programs designed by the communities, groups, and individuals, will support the cultural institutions to promote the element and its viability. Through concerts, public and media appearances in Jordan and abroad, the Samer gatherings and ensembles constantly promote the value of Jordan's traditional dances, making the general public more familiar with them. Special attention is dedicated to programs presenting various versions of a Samer in order to draw attention to the number and diversity of local variants of the basic patterns. The visibility of a Samer continuously increases due to the actual and cultural and entertainment programs broadcast by the radio and television. An important segment of promoting the Samer is its presentation at festivals and contests involving numerous ICH ensembles. As for the involvement of the practitioners in the safeguarding plans, I have to draw your attention, Mr. President, to around 80% of the Jordanians are practitioners of this art, including me. Safeguarding plans that are summarized in the nomination dossier are mainly gleaned from the Jordanian citizens, Attached to the nomination form, there are 90 pages of consents of community. They were composed and undersigned by the representatives of NGOs, young, old citizens, researchers, cultural historians, teachers, poets, students, etc., and cover the entire country, including Bedouin, rural, and urban areas. Jordanian issued them in harmony with the principle of free, prior, and informed consent. They reflect their real feelings and passion towards this element. This would explain why they asked the government to help them in submitting the nomination file present at your disposal, as the initiative came from the local communities. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick glance to these consents shows that Jordanians are not only declaring their deep interest in the inscription of this element as part of their identity and stimulator of social cohesion and cultural dialogue, but also they are aware of all consequences of the inscription, and therefore propose safeguarding measures that guarantee the promotion of the element and in the same time mitigate the possible negative aspects of the inscription. Mr. President, please let me reflect. If you want, I can quote some of the consents of communities who propose safeguarding measures exactly in line of the convention, but the time will not save us, will not help us. Mr. President, let me reflect on the so-called higher committee of experts and specialists and the elements holder, etc., etc. Mr. President, Jordan understands its commitment regarding the ICH elements that are present in its own territories and deeply willing to safeguard it in the line with the convention, which stresses the involvement of communities, groups, and, if applicable, the individuals. I have been asked to inform you, to inform the respected Intergovernmental Committee that it has given up establishing such a committee since in the middle of the duration, in the middle of the preparation of this file, because it is considering now, and the government is considering now, to found a safeguarding policies for the sake of safeguarding intangible cultural heritage in general, of course, including the elements under review, with the involvement and consultation of communities and groups in harmony of the convention and its philosophy. This committee, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't exist. As for the women involvement, all over Jordan and other neighboring countries, the Assamir is male-dominated. Women used to attend with men more openly to perform together, but because of the changing nature of intangible cultural heritage, which Jordan understands very well in accordance with the convention, the participation of women has decreased with the passage of time, especially in the last 30 years. In Bedouin and rural areas, the participation of women is less than in urban and city areas due to the conservative nature of such communities. When women gather with other women and there is dance and joyous music, a Assamir session can be performed within family context. Women regularly attend all-female weddings parties, sometimes several a week. Women participate also by being a spectator and ululating during the Assamir performance. Participants wear traditional costumes embroidered by Jordanian women. Although it is performed by males, the participation of women in private settings inside residences is not uncommon. Okay, I conclude my remarks, and I hope that they are satisfactory to the respected committee. Thank you very much for giving me the time.
Thank you, Jordan, for your explanation and responding to the queries from committee members. And I believe now we are ready to move to the adoption of the decision paragraph by paragraph. Paragraph 1, no objection, adopted. Paragraph 2, any question, any observation? None, adopted. We come to paragraph 3, where we have request for amendment from Palestine and Cuba. May I have the views of the committee members? And let us, le débat, s'il vous plaît.
We support the amendments. Thank you.
Can we just ask committee members to raise a nameplate for those who wishes to support the amendments from Palestine and Cuba? Djibouti, Senegal, Guatemala, Togo, Cyprus, Jamaica, Japan, Zambia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Cameroon, Azerbaijan, Mauritius. I hope that I did not miss any committee members. Sri Lanka, Colombia. Zambia, I don't know if I mentioned Zambia. And please, Poland, please ensure that it appears, your name appears on the screen so that Armenia?
Actually, if you said it, it's okay. If you said it, if you said the name, we've got it. If you as
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. And therefore,
Jamaica wants the floor.
Jamaica, you want the floor?
No, you want to be in. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Jamaica. C'est là?
Thank you,
it's
Mr.
in the
Chair.
list.
No, just said I didn't see. Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Therefore, I declare that paragraph 3 as amended. China also supports the amendments. I therefore declare that paragraph 3 is duly adopted as per amendments supported as shown on the screen. We move to paragraph 4. And here again, there is an amendment as proposed by Palestine and Cuba. Do I take it that the same states as in paragraph 3 support these amendments? Djibouti also joins in. Paragraph 4 stands amended and adopted. Therefore, we move to adopt draft decision 13-10B-20 as amended. Any objection? Adopted. Congratulations, Jordan. And may I invite Jordan to say a few words.
أولاً لأنني لم أذكر الحفاوة التي تلقيناها في دولة موريشيوس، فأود أن أشكر هذه الدولة الجميلة وعلى هذه الاستضافة الرائعة لهذا المؤتمر. فصحيح أننا سنترك هذه البلد بعد أيام، ولكنها تركت في القلب أثراً كبيراً. أشكر حكومة موريشيوس وأشكر أيضا السكرتاريا التي لم توفر جهدا في تسهيل مهمات الوفود وأيضا في دعمها الدائم للوفود وخاصة للأردن. كما أشكر لجنة التحكيم أو لجنة التقييم على جهدها وحصافتها في التحكيم. في الواقع أنا يعني أشيد بعمل هذه اللجنة الذي يمثل وهو فيعتبر مثالا مهما جدا للجان أخرى لاحقة إن شاء الله. أيضا أشكر اللجنة الدولية الحكومية بكافة أعضائها على دعمها لملف الأردن، وأنا أؤكد لكم بأن الأردن عازم على صون عناصر التراث الثقافي غير المادي الماثلة في أراضيه، وذلك بمشاركة المجتمعات والجماعات وأحيانا الأفراد، لأن هذا جزء من ديمومة هذا التراث. فلولا العاملين، فلولا الأوصياء على هذا التراث الذين هم المجتمعات، فإننا لن نستطيع أن نصونه بشكله الطبيعي. فالتراث الثقافي غير المادي نحن على علم بذلك أنه مثل الماء الجاري كالماء في الجدول الجاري، يتغير في كل لحظة ويتبدل لونه في كل لحظة، فما بالك بالتراث الثقافي غير المادي. الأردن بدأ بخطوات متواضعة في صون التراث الثقافي غير المادي، ولكنه الآن دخل في مرحلة جديدة بعد هذا التسجيل التي تدخل مرحلة الجدية التامة في الاهتمام بهذا التراث وبيان أهميته للمجتمعات المحلية وللإقليمية وأيضا على مستوى عالمي. التراث الثقافي غير المادي نعتبره نحن في الأردن هو مركبة نسعى فيها نحو السلام ونحو الاحترام المتبادل، وهو أيضا شاهد على إبداع كل المجموعات البشرية المنتشرة في الأرض. أشكركم مرة أخرى، وسأزف خبر هذا الترشيح إلى بلدي، إلى المجتمعات أولا ثم إلى الحكومة ثانيا. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you, Kazakhstan, and congratulations once again. Jordan, congratulations once again. Let's now move to consider the nomination from Kazakhstan on traditional spring festive rites of the Kazakh horse breeders. And I straight away invite the chairperson to give us its recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our next file is traditional spring festive rites of the Kazakh horse breeders, submitted by Kazakhstan. Traditional spring festival rites of Kazakh horse breeders mark the end of the old and the beginning of the new yearly horse breeding cycle. The rites involve skills inherited from nomadic ancestors to present-day reality and manifest traditional Kazakh hospitality. From the information included in the file, the nominations satisfy all the 5 criteria for inscription on the representative list. The evaluation body considered that traditional spring festival rites of the Kazakh horse breeders are carried out annually to express gratitude to nature for the survival of people and horses through the long winter and ensure the fertility of the herds and the abundance of milk in the new season. The related festivities illustrate the creative use of the natural environment that help people to adapt the tradition to the new living conditions. The safeguarding plan concentrates on the regulating their attendance during the rites without any direct interference with the practice. The nomination file was prepared by the Initiative Group for Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage, comprising representatives of the traditional bearers and experts. In addition, other community members were also involved. The evaluation body recommends that the committee inscribe traditional spring festival rites of the Kazakh horse breeders on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. Let us now move to adopt the draft decision. And since we did not receive any request for debate or amendment, I propose that we adopt the draft decision as a whole. Is there any objection that we adopt decision 13, 10B, 21 as a whole? Saying no objection, adopted. Thank you and congratulations. Pleasure now to invite Kazakhstan to take the floor.
Dear Chairman, dear members of the committee, Kazakhstan sincerely thanks everyone for your kind support to this nomination. Now let me give floor to a representative of the community bearers of this practice. And I will translate into English.
Құрметті төраға, комитет мүшелері, қайырлы күн. Менің есімім Бақтияр Қожахметов. Орталық Қазақстандағы Ұлытау деген қорық мұржадан келіп отырмын. Сіздердің қолдап отқан номинацияларыңыз қазақ жылқышыларының көктемгі мерекелік рәсімдері біздің елімізде кең дамыған. Біздің жерлестеріміздің мәдениетінің, тұрмысының күнделікті ажырамас бір бөлігі. Енді бүгінгі күні осы жылқы дегенде асын жерге қоятын, яғни жылқыны жақсы көретін, жылқыны білетін азаматтардың бәріне бір үлкен қуанышты күн деп есептеймін. Осы ЮНЕСКО арқылы мойындалып, дүниежүзілік тізімге кіріп отқан номинацияға біз болашақта атсалысамыз, осыны насихаттаймыз, сақтаймыз деп сендіргім келеді. Елена Хорш дайындаған осы номинацияны қолдағандарыңызға біздің ұжымның артынан және қазақстандық жерлестеріміздің атынан үлкен сіздерге рахмет.
Dear Chairman, distinguished members of the committee, my name is Bakhtiar Qojahmetov, and I'm the director of the Museum of the region of Ulutau in central Kazakhstan, where this practice is common. The traditional festive spring rites of horse breeders that you have just inscribed is practiced in our region and is an indispensable part of our community's self-identity. A horse has had an invaluable contribution to the progress and spread of the human civilization, and the earliest evidence of the horse's domestication comes from our country, from the great steppes of Kazakhstan. Today is a great day for everyone who loves horses around the globe. Therefore, we'd like to assure you of our commitment to make every effort to preserve our tradition that's been inscribed by you today to the UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And we sincerely thank all of you for your support to the nomination prepared by late Dr. Elena Horosh. Now the delegation of Kazakhstan would like to ask the Secretariat to present a short video illustrating the role of this tradition in the life of the community. Thank you very much to everyone once again.
Thank you, Kazakhstan. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave the room, I would like to give the floor to the Secretary for a practical announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I'm pleased to invite all of you to the information session on higher education networking on intangible cultural heritage, organized by the Secretariat. It will take place at 1 p.m. in the Kestrel room on the first floor.
Thank you. We suspend the session up till 14:30 hours. I wish all of you bon appétit.